Don't need an introduction for Dr. James, but for the young students who are sitting here, Dr. James is an Emeritus Professor and Director, Research and Consultancy at the Karunya University. He is also the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the Karunya University. We normally call Dr. James as the water expert of Kerala. In fact, any government mechanism who wants an advice or a suggestion on water resources availability and management, the first person always consulted is Dr. James. He is a member of the governing body of Wetlands International South Asia. He graduated in civil engineering from the National Institute of Technology, Karnataka, also KREC, and also obtained his MTech in coastal engineering from the same institute. He did his PhD from Calcutta University and carried out his postdoctoral work in the Institute of Hydrology, UK. I'll stop it here, and this was more for information to the young scientists and colleagues here. Thank you, sir, and then over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sudheer, Dr. Sumit, Dr. Pramod, and my dear friends. You know, today morning, it's a drizzle which woke me up. You know that I drove down from Coimbatore yesterday evening. It was very hot, and I told my wife, Kerala is always like this. Then today morning when I got up, it was drizzling. I got an atrium in my navigator, and it was raining inside. I heard the noise. Then she declined and said that it is not rain, something else. I said that, can I believe my ears? My ears are not very good, but can I believe my ears? Then suddenly came the smell of soil. Then I said that is confirmed. You can go and sleep whether it is raining. It was drizzling. So it was a good, auspicious day today for me. Now, coming to water security, what I just wanted to tell you is that, have you seen this bird? My mom used to say, it's a little myth connecting forest with water. My mom used to say that her hornbill looks up for the drop of rain to come. Okay. This is not an ordinary, this is a Renault's, what you call hornbill. It looks up for the rains to come. We are all looking out for the rains to come. And so I just wanted to have a myth connecting water, and now I'm supposed to speak on some philosophy of peace and water and security and all that. But as a hydrologist, I have still a temptation to talk about something about water and this, and then I'll come to the philosophy of this is on the left hand side. You have got the Silent Valley, and on the right hand side you have got a Landsat imagery of Silent Valley of 16 square kilometer area, showing you Sairandri, Bujipara and Walakkad. And when I came to Kerala to join CWRDM, we had declared Silent Valley as a national park. So as a hydrologist, I had a curiosity. What is all this biodiversity about? What triggers biodiversity in Silent Valley in comparison to the other ecosystems in Kerala? As you know, that you have got, the West Coast tropical evergreen forest, and you have got the southern subtropical wide leaf forests and the grasslands. All these are possible in Silent Valley. How? This was my question. I answered this question. I got a funding from Ministry of Environment and Forest way back in 1980s. They gave me some money to continuously monitor Silent Valley for 5 years. I monitored. And you know what is my results here? Silent Valley is a place. We have got, Walakad has got 10,000 millimeters of rainfall. Can you see? In 1994, in Walakad, you had 10,000 millimeters of rainfall. Have you ever imagined, can you ever imagine that in Kerala we have got a place where we have got 10,000 millimeters of rainfall? Walakad has. And just see here, this is your Pujipara and this is your Silent. And all other stations which I compared nearby, stations like Mukali, Anamulle, Edavanna and Munderi, you will find that rainfall is much less. So there is something to do with the rainfall and biodiversity I learned. Then I thought that what Dr. Sudheer was making a small mention, what can be that factor which contributes to biodiversity? Then I went one more step up. Have you seen here? This is your water card. You've got 30 days of rainfall, rainy days in Sarandri, in Walakad, during the period October to December, and you have got in January, May, almost 30 days off. And the remaining period, you have got 120 rainy days, which means Silent Valley has got more number of rainy days than anywhere else in the country. I'm not talking about country, I don't know what it is like. India, I have no idea. I know about only Kerala and part of Tamil Nadu, yes. I'm at WM now. Okay, so this difference, this you find only in these three stations. Sairandri, Pujipara and Walakad. Walakad is the highest point in Silent Valley. And it is with much difficulty I had to install the rain gauge stations, go there and read and get the data and license it. So much so that in Ministry of Environment and Forest, a young lady was dealing with it. I still remember Sujata Arora. And I was introduced by a senior scientist to her. And I went to Sujata and Sujata told me, sir, you have not installed the stations. I said that, have you seen elephants? She just looked at me. You might have seen the elephants in the Nehru Stadium when you had that, at that time you had the Commonwealth of this thing. You had an elephant there. Have you seen wild elephants? So we are fighting against them. Each time I have my meteorological yard installed, the wild elephant will come and will smash. And we have to collect the data with that difficulty. I think it should be in the repository of CWRD with this data, I think so. I'm not sure. Now, in 1983, I just want to know, you were talking about ecosystem services, water. Yeah, this is something which disturbed me. Is there an ecosystem service to be given by the forests? What I did was that I again wrote a proposal for Ministry of Environment and Forests way back in 1982, if I remember correct. And I thought that I'll take up 3 sets of watersheds in 3 areas of Kerala. This is Upper Perunamuri, this is Upper Varani, this is Upper Chimani. I think forest officers will be doing this place as well. What was the type of watersheds I selected? One watershed with canopy of more than 60%. One watershed in each side with a canopy between 30 and 60. And one watershed with a canopy of less than 30%. Okay. I called them for my convenience, I don't know about forestry. I called them dense forest, partially exploited, fully exploited. And from all these 3 sides of 2 square kilometer area, each watershed is separated from the other just like that. You have got this oranges like that. Okay, very close by. And I heavily instrumented it with a meteorological yacht, and I had a through fall trough to find out the through fall, and I had a stem collar for finding out the stem flow, all the parameters, evapotranspiration, evaporation, everything, all the parameters I thought that I will collect to know what is happening. For me, it was not research, it was just a fancy. As my dad used to say that, you've got a lot of fancies and this is one of your fancies. I said that yes. Then, what was the result of it? This should be interesting for you to know. You know, it is at that time I went to UK. I was a part of the watershed studies in UK. That was the Plinlimmon and White catchments. White catchment doesn't have any forest, and Plinlimmon has forests. Now please remember, the forests in UK are cultivated forests, not like our forests. I used to laugh at them. They feel bad whenever I say that. Your forests are cultivated forests, and our forests are real forests. Then they get irritated all the time. And I have got a tendency to irritate people, as you know that. And when I have become older, I all the more irritate people. I like it, I enjoy it. That's a fancy. People have different fancies. So what is happening here? We found that the hydrograph is flattened. And in wide catchment, you've got a steep hydrograph. And you see the lag time between the two, the peaks. Then this is your Peruvannamalai. Okay? Peruvannamalai watershed, this is your dense forest catchment. It takes 190 minutes for coming from the centroid of rainfall to come to the peak. Okay? Here the lag time, this is partially exploited, the lag time is 140 minutes. Here it is 120 minutes. Very clear. So what's happening in the forest? This was my question. What's happening here? What is the sponge action which is taking place in the forest? Is this humus soil acting like a sponge and absorbing water? As Dr. Sudheer was saying, the ecosystem is absorbing water. The tree trunks which are disintegrating, absorbing water. The holes made by, what's that? The rodents conserving water. What is happening in a forest? This made me more curious. And what I did was that I tried to find out. This is my Peruvannamalai watershed. You see, I found that in 2 square kilometer area. After the rain stops in the month of November, there was a flow till May. See, in the dense forest. In the partially exploited, the flow stopped by February. You said February, very, very crucial. After February, no flow. And in the fully exploited, when the rain stopped, the flow stopped. So what is this forest doing all about? We should have a curiosity to know what's happening actually. This forest is doing some magic. Okay, what is that magic all about? Now, I still try to find out southwest monsoon, northeast monsoon, and dry period wise, find out the flows. Now, this is Peruvannamalai. You had this much quantum during southwest monsoon, but much more in the fully exploited one. Much more than this in the fully exploited one. Maybe 20%, 30%, yes. And in northeast monsoon also, there is much more flows in the exploited catchment. Dry season, flow here, more flow here, and zero flow here. And in the partially exploited, this was the situation. This is Warani, this is Perunamari. Do you understand what I am saying? Not only the forest absorb and keep water, it releases water in a regular manner to cater to the requirements of the downstream human beings and also the forest wildlife. Okay, have we realized this? Are we conserving our forests after knowing this? This paper was published in the Vancouver Conference of International Hydrologic Sciences and then published later by them in their IHS Red Book. You can go through the paper if it is available somewhere. Now I just want to find out what happens to soil moisture. I took the soil moisture on the surface at a depth of 50 centimeters, at a depth of, I found that soil moisture is 20 to 30% more in forest, whatever may be the depth. And one interesting thing I found was that maximum soil moisture was in the month of November, not in the southwest monsoon. Southwest monsoon, the antecedent conditions are different, but when you come to the month of November, it is fully saturated condition. You have got more soil moisture during November, which is useful for you from the summer. Okay. I'm trying to find out what is happening to evapotranspiration. You know, in UK, in England, they decided to cut the forest because the evapotranspiration loss was more from the forest, so cut the forest for conserving water. This is what they did in England. My studies showed that the evapotranspiration loss from the dense forest is much less than the partially exploited. For this I got the best paper award from the Institution of Engineers at that point of time. This is something which I never expected. What is happening? From an exposed surface, the evaporation losses will be considerably more. In spite of more evapotranspiration, transpiration from the plants, the total evapotranspiration is less from the forest. One more reason, every other day you have got rainfall in this thing, so evapotranspiration will be much less. That may be also another reason. I'm not sure, I did not try to interpret all that. Now I try to find out what is happening to temperature, the microclimate. It is 3 degrees Celsius less. Very close watersheds. These watersheds are not far off. And elevational difference is not much. So you have got microclimate is congenial. Then I try to find out what is the suspended load which is being drawn. You know, here in the month of June, dense forests and fully exploited, if you compare, this is 6 times more from the fully exploited. So it is not the theory of one of the MLAs of Kerala once made that trees will have to be cut, otherwise the roots will go down and then create soil erosion. Do you understand the statement which I said? One of the MLAs from my area in Calicut said once that cut the trees, otherwise they will create soil erosion by penetrating roots. But I found that they bring down the suspended sediments. I'm talking about suspended sediments. My curiosity did not stop there. I tried to find out what is the bed load. To find out the bed load, I had a small check. Whatever sediments came and then deposited there, every month I will measure and try to find out what is the bed load coming and then depositing there. Pramod, I had all the blessings and good wishes of right from P.T. Devasi down to Manoharan to whomever it was, and my own student Valli. All of them allowed me to go to the forest and do whatever nonsense. But I had a problem with my finance officer who tried to find out a lot of reasons for me not to go to the forest and then do it. And I am spending money in forest, and so much I got irritated. One day I took him to the forest, dropped him in the middle of the forest and came back. Okay, that's the only way these people can be punished. And you, Dr. Sudheer, don't quote me to any finance officer. If there are any finance officers or registrars sitting here, don't bother about it. It is just a joke. Okay, this is about it. Now you find that the bed load is more than 6 times from. Okay, I try to find out what will be the loss due to what do you call it, sir? Interception. Whatever water which falls on the leaf and get evaporated from her. How much will be happening in a forest catchment? And what I did was that I had through fall troughs in representative areas, and in representative trees I had collars, stem collars, like our rubber. Okay, fine. And then try to find out what's happening. I found that it's about 10% of the water is lost from the forest. Why I wanted to have this argument is that this is same as what you lose in a coconut garden. Nobody should come with an argument that forests are taking more evapotranspiration, more interception losses will be there from the forest, and then say that cut down the forest. So I measured from the coconut grove and then forest. I found that forests are not much harmful than from the point of view of interception. That's about that. Now little piece I'll talk, and then Dr. Sudheer, you can stop me at any time. Water and peace is the subject which we have today. Water can create peace or spark conflict. When water is scarce or polluted, or when people have unequal or no access, tension can arise. Many things. I have seen in Coimbatore, Krishnakumar will be knowing, they stand with the pots and they hit each other. One day I was in between, I got down, I asked them what is all this about. Sir, if I am not in the first, I may not get water. So we are going. Sad. This is happening in India, in many parts of this country. Access to drinking water is a human right. You know what the water policy of Kerala says? Drinking water is a social right of the people of Kerala. But do all our people get drinking water? If they are not getting it, who is to be blamed? The people who wrote the water policy? I don't know. Now, cooperation on water paves the way for cooperation on all shared challenges. Whether it is forestry, whether it is the economic front, whether it is the food front, water is, as far as Kerala is concerned, please remember, we have got water for food, spices when you think about it, water for hydro. I think 75% of our electricity comes from hydro, if not 50. Okay, I don't know the exact figure. 50% will come from hydro? Yes, 50% comes from hydro. The entire tourism of Kerala is dependent on water. And anything which is bringing money to Kerala comes from water. So we have to be more careful about water than anybody else in the world. So we must use water as a tool to create a more peaceful and prosperous world. Water should be used as a tool. Now, world water crisis, if you ask me, we have got only 20% fresh water of the total water available. And if you ask me, water requirement, demand is increasing 2 times of the population. Water use growing at more than twice the rate of population increase. When the population doubles, that goes by 4 times. So please remember that the water use pattern of people are changing. Because in earlier times we did not have a car to wash. Now you have to wash a car in Trivandrum. Then you need to have the tap water for washing your car. We did not have that requirement. And we did not have the requirement for a large water consumption by our washing machine. Now we have water. So water use pattern is changing. That is one thing. And by 2025, 800 million people in the world may not have water, and 2/3 of the population will be living in severe water stressed areas. What will people do then? When I don't have anything, I'll go and steal. That is what we are taught. Okay. And when you go for stealing, there will be war, there will be problems. When I come and then steal water from your water tank, there can be problems. When a state is stealing water from another state, there will be problem. When a country is stealing water from another country, there will be problem. We will have to give a relief for this problem. More than 50 countries and several federal states on 5 continents are said to be at risk of conflict over water. Even today, that's what I wanted to say. Now, may I tell you about your great country called India? Is there any opinion, anybody here, that India is not great? India is great, right? So, your great country called India has got 54% of the area under water stress. And 163 million people who are not having access to water. Whatever you may say, you can tell a lot of things to me. I will hear all that. 210 million people are not having proper sanitation in spite of your Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So, in spite of that, 210 million people, my statistics is that of the World Bank. If you want, you can send out World Bank from India, I'll be happy. Okay, I'm a fanatic with you. Okay, we'll send out World Bank. Okay, fine. And please remember, in a day, 500 children below 5 years is dying in this country of a communicable water disease, waterborne or water-related, water vector, whatever you call it. How many children? Don't you feel sorry for them? Don't you feel sorry for them? 500 children in this country today dies because of communicable diseases of water. Don't you feel compassion? I come from an institution which stands for compassion, Karunya. And Pramod's wife is an alumnus of us, and Sumit's student is an alumnus of our institution. I'm proud of it. 2 panelists of some family, so-called family connection with Canada. So, don't you feel compassion for these children? Are we not doing anything for them? You want them to go on dying? In spite of all the speeches which we make, now I hear every day during the election time speeches being made. But are we not feeling bad for these 500 children every day dying in this country called India because they don't have access to good quality water? Then go away. It is your problem. It's my problem. It's not your problem alone, it is our problem. Consider this. Now water is under growing pressure. The water-related impacts of climate change is going to bring about a lot of dangers. If you ask me, on one side the Himalayas may have Roorkee, the glaciers are melting, And I had a data from your one of the rivers which is flowing through Kashmir, Wooler Lake data. I found that in Wooler Lake, the flows are increasing when compared to the past. First I had a puzzle, then I knew that, yeah, what is happening, that flow will be there now, after some time it will stop forever. So this is what is happening with regard to this thing. And with China we have a problem on Satluj. With Pakistan we have a problem with Indus. And will they all fight? Will our neighbors come and fight with us for the water? I don't know. We have got good neighbors. Within many countries, people's access to safe drinking water is unevenly and unfairly distributed. And transboundary sharing is a problem. You know that every time I am between Kerala and Tamil Nadu. 3 minutes. I am between Kerala and Tamil Nadu. They complain about Kerala, and when I come to Kerala, Kerala complains about Tamil Nadu. Why all this? Why all this for water? Water unites, land divides. Do you understand this? Kaveri puts together Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry. And you know that the 7 rivers of the major rivers of India connect to the whole country. That is a culture, that is integration. All other things which we talk are not integration. That is integration. Natural integration. Geographical integration. Dynamic integration. Water integration. We should not forget this. It is Pandit G who said, which I still remember, if the whole Indian culture can be told in one word, you know what is that word? Gange. What is that word? Gange. This is what Pandit Ji says in his discovery of India. Poor provision of water services can delegitimate states. What is that delegitimization? This is a scenario in the world. Images of global water crisis. And this is Delhi, our capital city, on a morning. Okay? This photograph is from Delhi. Okay? Why people are standing? Just like that. And water often plays a role in conflict. Water can be a trigger for a conflict. Okay? Water issue can, when interests of different water users, including states, clash, or when water quantity or quality decreases, it can trigger. It can also be a weapon. You know that they were telling that they will fill the whole tunnel of Gaza Strip with water and choke them to death. Right? Water is used as a weapon. And water can also be when they destroy the infrastructure, when people do not have water to drink, because your enemy country destroys your infrastructure. It's a problem. This is being practiced today in different countries when they are at war. So how you are using water, you can find out. Water cooperation creates a positive ripple effect. Working together on water across borders and sectors will accelerate progress across the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Goal number 6, dealing with water. And healthy livelihoods and ecosystems, helping to build resilience to climate change, contributing to disaster risk reduction, providing renewable energy, supporting cities and industry, and fostering regional integration and peace. Now, why people are talking about water security today, I have already told you. And how can we reverse the various cycle of water conflicts into virtuous cycle of water cooperation and mutual benefits? Target, governments, NGOs, private sector should commit to the goals of SDG 6, sustainable management of water and sanitation. Prioritize, use advanced approaches and methods. Advanced approaches for data collection, for data analysis, and things. We are talking about Industry 4.0 or 5.0, I don't know what, but we are talking about something like that. We have to make use of it in the field of water, not in other fields alone. Incentivize, inclusive stakeholder participation, need to develop policies, plans, and incentives. Now, build. As a team, build the capacity of government entities, investors, NGOs, etc. Monitor governments and other stakeholders to develop monitoring, evaluation, and learning process. Use of global tools. United Nations have already formed a water peace security group in which different NGOs are members plus countries. So we have to be working with the United Nations on this goal. Now, if you go for integrated water resources management, it may be one of the solutions for India, which is one of the economic solutions for India. In the Dublin conference, chaired by our friend Douche, we took a decision to go for integrated water resources management. Can we go for that? The principles of integrated water resources management is nothing but water is finite. Population increase is infinite. It looks as if now in India, when I look at it, water is finite. Water should be managed by women along with men, gender. Water should be managed by the stakeholders, and water, whether you like it or not, is an economic good. When it comes to your kitchen, water is an economic good. Please keep these points in mind. Water can be a tool for peace. Make water as a tool for peace. Water can be a stabilizing force and catalyst for sustainable development. That's it. You want to drink water or not? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. James, for a wonderful talk. So, your points from your early days of experiments, you have established that the perennial streams have disappeared due to poor management, and you have also touched upon the water conflict which are going to be possible in the